Hi everybody, this is Jen from Cookies, Cupcakes, and Cardio.com. Today I'm responding to many viewer requests, which is a follow-up video from one that we have already done called Chocolate Peanut Butter Rice Krispie Squares. And so I'm going to show you, as requested, how to make Rice Krispie Squares. So what you're going to need to make these Rice Krispie Squares is a 9x13 baking pan. I'm going to use a glass one. You can use any kind that you have. You'll need about 5 cups of the mini marshmallows, which is equivalent to a 250 gram bag, which is also equivalent to 40 of the larger marshmallows. You're going to need 6 cups of Rice Krispies, or you can just use a no-name brand oven toasted rice grain cereal, whichever you have around. You're going to need a 1/4 cup of butter or margarine, I'm using butter, and a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So this recipe will take place over top of the oven, so we're going to get set up and get melting the butter to start. So the first thing we're going to add is the butter on medium heat on your stove. And I'm just using about a 4-quart soup pot. You need it to be nice and big in order to get all the Rice Krispies in there on the end. Just going to melt the butter. And at the same time, you can add the marshmallows, and you want to just keep stirring to keep everything moving around. And you're just going to stir until it comes to a nice liquid. Well, sort of liquid. It will be a sticky, melted marshmallow delightfulness. So once the marshmallows have come to a nice creamy combination with the butter, and you've got all the marshmallow chunks that have melted in here, you're going to turn off the heat. And the best thing is to remove your pan from the heat. And then you're going to add your vanilla at this point. Gently stir that together. And when that's combined, you're going to add the Rice Krispies. And this is when it gets messy. And this is why you need a nice big bowl. So you're going to put the whole thing in. You'll find it starts to be a little bit difficult to turn, but you just want to get all those Rice Krispies worked in and get some marshmallow covering most of them. You can see how they start to stick to the side of your pot, so it is quite a big cleanup job. So when you've got most of them mixed in like this, what you want to do is just set that to the side. I'm going to switch spots here. And then whenever I'm baking and I'm using up butter, I use the leftover butter wrappers to grease my pan. And this will come in very handy for stuff like this, because you do need a lot of grease on the outside of the pan because of these Rice Krispie Squares being so sticky. Don't throw this away yet, you're going to need it again. Or if you don't have that, you can just put a little bit of butter on wax paper. That works too. So now, sometimes this takes 2 people, but I've kind of learned how to do it by myself. You just want to dump the Rice Krispie Squares into your pan. Get most of them out. And then set that in some water to soak. Now you're left with a very sticky mess. I've tried it with a knife. I've tried it with everything that you can. Make sure whatever you're going to use is really well buttered or greased. I've tried Pam. That doesn't work. It doesn't taste very good, so I really don't recommend that. But you're going to come back to your butter wrapper And this works marvelously. And this comes, I know it's really high tech, people, but it comes from years of practice and years of failure. And finally, one day, just figured it out. So you're just going to press all the Rice Krispie squares down until you get a nice flat surface. And then they'll have to cool for probably about half an hour to an hour until you can bring it to room temperature. And slice them up. You can top them with the peanut butter chocolate recipe that we provided for you, and we'll link to you at the bottom of the video. And there you have it. It's very simple, a nice delicious treat for the kids. Put them in their lunches or just eat or take with you on a hike or an afternoon lunch treat. So there you go, everybody. That's how you make Rice Krispie squares. I just used a nice sharp knife to slice them up into treat sizes. So hopefully you enjoyed watching the video. Thanks for requesting the extra treat here. And remember to find us on Google+, Facebook, and on Twitter.